3,200 years ago, a king named Agamemnon spent decades forcing almost every kingdom in Greece to bow to him. One by one, they all gave in. Only Thessaly still refused. And across the sea sat the one rival Greece could not touch, the kingdom of Troy. Agamemnon wanted it more than anything. Greece also had a weapon no other nation had. Its deadliest fighting force was led by a warrior named Achilles, and Achilles took orders from nobody, least of all Agamemnon. Agamemnon marches on Thessaly again, but the wars have already cost him too many men, so he offers a deal instead. Each side sends out its best fighter, and one duel decides everything. If Thessaly wins, he leaves their land alone forever. If he wins, Thessaly kneels. Thessaly sends out Boagrius, a giant of a man. Agamemnon calls for Achilles, and Achilles is not there. He is asleep, hungover, with two women beside him. People say his mother is a goddess and that he cannot be killed. Achilles has never believed a word of it. As far as he is concerned, he is just a man, and a man still needs a shield. He shows up eventually, walks onto the field alone, and the fight lasts about 3 seconds. One strike, and the giant is dead. Just like that, all of Greece belongs to Agamemnon.
Is there no one else?
Far away in Sparta, King Menelaus has a wife whose beauty is famous across the world. Her name is Helen. That night, Sparta is celebrating because Troy and Sparta have finally made peace. Troy has two princes. Hector is the greatest warrior the city has ever produced. Paris has never set foot on a battlefield in his life. And under the roof of that celebration, Paris has been sleeping with Helen in secret for a long time. Menelaus treats her like a tool for producing heirs while he spends his own nights with dancers. So when Helen falls for Paris, she falls completely, and he falls right back. Hector finds out and makes it very clear that if his brother's recklessness ever puts Troy in danger, he will deal with him personally. The next morning, the Trojan ships sail for home, and hidden on board, Paris has brought Helen with him. The Queen of Sparta is gone. That is how the war starts. Hector is furious. Their father spent years building peace with Sparta, and Paris burned it down in one night. When Menelaus discovers his wife is missing, he goes straight to Agamemnon, who is not just his ally, but his own brother. He wants war, and he wants the full Greek army behind him. Agamemnon agrees instantly because Troy is the prize he has been chasing his entire life. But his advisor Nestor tells him the truth nobody else will say. To win this, they need Achilles and the 50 warriors who follow him. Agamemnon hates the idea. Achilles cannot be controlled or commanded. But there is one fact the king cannot argue with. Achilles always wins. So a messenger rides out to Ithaca to fetch King Odysseus, the only man in Greece that Achilles actually respects. Odysseus finds him training his young cousin Patroclus with a sword. Achilles wants nothing to do with the war. He will not fight for Agamemnon, and a stolen wife is not his problem. So Odysseus changes the angle. He tells Achilles to fight for Greece and for himself. Then he mentions that Troy has a prince named Hector, a man so strong that even the greatest warrior in Greece might not beat him. That is the hook. Achilles goes to see his mother, and she tells him the truth she has always known. If he goes to Troy, he will never come home. But his name will live forever, because this war will become the greatest story the world ever tells. He goes. In Troy, King Priam welcomes his sons home, along with the woman Paris introduces as his future wife. Hector reunites with his own wife Andromache and their newborn son. And we meet Briseis, a cousin of both princes, who has given her life to the temple. Hector wants Helen sent back to Sparta immediately, but Priam refuses because sending Helen back means sending Paris to his death. Hector warns him plainly that Troy cannot win this. Priam believes in two things: his walls, which no army has ever broken, and Apollo, the god who watches over the city. So Troy prepares. Defenses go up along the coast, weapons are forged, and the soldiers wait. Then 1,000 Greek ships appear on the horizon. 50,000 men. One ship pulls ahead of the rest. Achilles and his 50 Myrmidons are not waiting for orders. They will take the beach first and let Agamemnon catch up. Patroclus begs to come, but Achilles tells him he is not ready and leaves him to guard the ship. Inside Troy, Hector orders every civilian pulled behind the walls. On the sand, Achilles tells his men he would rather fight beside 50 of them than 1,000 of anyone else. Then the beach explodes. With zero support from the rest of the fleet, the Myrmidons tear through the Trojan defenders and drive them all the way back to the city gates. When it is over, Achilles orders his men to strip the temple of Apollo of everything inside. He does not fear the god. He does not fear anything. Hector arrives with his soldiers, and the moment they step onto the temple grounds, Achilles and the Myrmidons fall on them. Hector challenges him right there, because the priests inside were unarmed and were slaughtered anyway. But Achilles refuses. He says the prince's death deserves an audience, and there is nobody there to watch. Every soldier Hector brought dies on that ground. Achilles lets Hector walk away because he is not finished with him yet. Then his second-in-command, Eutorus, brings forward a prisoner taken in the temple. It is Briseis, and he offers her to Achilles like a trophy. Instead, Achilles turns on his own men, because in all his years of war he has never killed a priest, which means the bodies in that temple are their work, and he wants no part of it. Down on the coast, the Greeks build their camp. Kings from all over Greece come to lay gifts at Agamemnon's feet, congratulating him for taking the beaches of Troy, even though Achilles is the one who took them. Then Agamemnon clears the tent to speak to Achilles alone. He tells him the kings of Greece will never kneel to a soldier, and that history will not remember a warrior. History will remember the King of Kings. Then he twists the knife and says he will be enjoying Briseis himself that night. Something shifts in Achilles. He does not fully understand why, but he wants her protected, and he is done with Agamemnon. He swears that before he dies, he wants to stand over that man's corpse and smile. Inside Troy, the city mourns its dead, but the priests and nobles are confident. The walls have never been breached. Their archers are the best in the world, and they have Hector. Paris cannot live with what he caused, so he announces that in the morning he will challenge Menelaus to single combat, and whoever wins keeps Helen. Priam hands him the ancient sword of Troy to carry into the duel. Andromache is terrified because she knows Greece did not sail here for Paris. Greece came to burn Troy to the ground and to kill the man standing in the way, her husband. On his way to find Paris, Hector catches Helen trying to sneak out of the city. She was going to surrender herself to Menelaus because too many people have already died for her. Hector stops her because it would change nothing. Agamemnon is going to attack either way. At dawn, the Greek army assembles. Achilles keeps his men out of it until Agamemnon comes to him personally and practically begs him to join. The Trojans take their positions. Priam refuses to blame Helen for any of this. He believes everything happening is the will of the gods. Then the Greek army comes into view, and the sheer size of it silences the field. The leaders of both sides meet in the middle. Agamemnon wants Helen returned and Troy on its knees. Hector refuses because no son of Troy will ever bow to a foreign king. So Paris makes his offer. He duels Menelaus for Helen, and whatever the result, the war ends there. Agamemnon does not want peace. He wants the city, but Menelaus wants blood, and Agamemnon realizes that if Paris dies, the Greeks can simply attack anyway. The duel begins, and it is ugly. Paris has never fought a real battle and never killed a man, and it shows with every swing. He loses badly, and in the end he crawls back to his brother and clings to his leg. Hector, forced to choose between his brother and the deal, kills Menelaus himself. Agamemnon uses that as his excuse. The Greeks charge, but the Trojans hold their ground close to the walls, which is a nightmare for attackers. Arrows rain down from above, and Greek soldiers die by the hundreds. Hector goes after Ajax, one of the strongest warriors Greece has outside of Achilles, and cuts him down. With the bodies piling up, Agamemnon does the only thing left. He pulls his army back. Afterward, the Greeks burn their dead, and Agamemnon promises his brother's memory that he will take Troy and turn it to ash. But the soldiers are broken. Their spirit is gone. They need Achilles to lift them back up. And since Agamemnon still refuses to ask him, Odysseus goes instead. That same night, Greek soldiers try to force themselves on Briseis, and Achilles gets there just in time. Later he tells her what he actually believes, that there are no gods, none at all. That night, while he sleeps, she holds a blade to his throat. He does not stop her. He tells her everyone dies eventually. She cannot do it. And somewhere in the middle of all that hatred, the two of them fall in love without meaning to. In the morning, Odysseus pleads with him one more time, because the army truly needs him. Achilles says no. He is going home. Inside Troy, the priests and nobles push Priam to attack, arguing that Greek morale has collapsed. Hector tries to stop him, warning that Achilles and the Myrmidons have not even been on the field. But Priam trusts his priests, who swear Troy will win. Before sunrise, Achilles wakes to a sound he recognizes. Troy is attacking in the dark. The Greeks scramble to form up, but the Trojans already have the advantage. Tens of thousands of them surround the beach, hammering spears against shields to break the enemy's nerve before a single blow lands. Just as the Greek line starts to crack, Achilles and the Myrmidons come charging into the fight. The Greeks rally, and it ends where everyone knew it would end. Achilles and Hector, face to face, with every soldier on both sides watching. Hector cuts him down, except it is not Achilles. The man inside that armor is Patroclus, his young cousin, who put on the uniform to inspire the men. The whole battle stops because the real Achilles is still in his tent. When he finds out what happened, something inside him breaks, and whatever restraint he had left goes with it. He swears Hector will pay. Hector goes home and tells Andromache about a hidden passage that leads out to Mount Ida. He tells her to take as many people as she can and go. He is already preparing for the version of the future where Troy falls and he is dead, because he knows exactly what happens then. The Greeks kill every man and take every woman, and in the palace, still burning with shame from his duel, Paris starts practicing with a bow. The next morning, Achilles walks toward Troy alone. Briseis tries to stop him. He is past listening. He stands at the walls and calls Hector out.
Hector!
Before he goes down, Hector makes his peace. He says goodbye to Paris. He kisses his wife and his son for the last time. On the field, Hector proposes an agreement. Whoever wins allows the loser a proper burial. Achilles is not there to make deals. He is there to kill him. Then comes the fight the whole world has been waiting for. The two greatest warriors alive. For a while it is even, but slowly Achilles takes control, and Hector falls. Achilles ties the body to his chariot and drags it away, staring back at every Trojan on those walls as he goes. That night, an old man slips into the Greek camp. It is Priam. He has walked alone into the tent of the man who killed his son to beg for the body back. He reminds Achilles that he has taken his son's life and tells him he is lucky because his own father died while Achilles was still alive, so he will never know what it feels like to bury his own child. Achilles lets him take him. He lets Priam wash his son, pray over him, and bury him with honor. They are still enemies, but even an enemy can be worthy of respect. He admits it out loud. Hector was the greatest opponent he ever faced. The funeral rites will take 12 days, so Achilles promises that for 12 days Greece will not attack. He frees Briseis and sends her home with the old king, giving her a necklace before she leaves. And he tells Priam that he is a far better king than the one Greece has. Hector's funeral is held, and the city grieves. Meanwhile, out on the beach, Odysseus watches a soldier carving a little wooden toy in the shape of a horse, and an idea starts to form. Achilles finds Euderus and apologizes for striking him. He tells him to take the Myrmidons home, because their war is over. Achilles is staying, because his is not. 12 days later, the Trojans wake up and the beach is empty. Every ship gone, every soldier gone. All that is left is an enormous wooden horse. The story going around is that the Greeks built it as an offering to Poseidon, begging for safe passage home, and left it behind as a gift for Troy. Paris wants it burned. The priest refused, terrified of the curse that would fall on the city for destroying an offering meant for a god. And Priam makes his final decision. The horse comes inside the walls. The people cheer as it rolls through the gates. To them it is a trophy, proof they won. There is just one thing they do not know. The Greeks never left. A group of soldiers is hidden inside the belly of that horse. When night falls, they climb out, cut the throats of the sleeping guards, and open the gates of Troy. Before dawn, tens of thousands of Greek soldiers pour into the city. What follows is a slaughter. The men are killed. The women are taken and killed. Buildings go up in flames. Troy comes apart exactly the way Agamemnon promised it would. Achilles runs through the burning streets looking for one person, Briseis. Andromache leads the survivors toward the hidden passage. Paris cannot go with them because he has to find his father and he has to find Briseis. He hands the ancient sword of Troy to a young man in the crowd and tells him that as long as that sword survives, the people of Troy still have a future. Then he says goodbye to Helen. The Greeks force their way into the palace. The statues of the gods are smashed to pieces, and Priam, king of Troy, is cut down by Agamemnon himself. Then Agamemnon finds Briseis kneeling in prayer and moves to kill her. But she gets there first. Agamemnon dies on that floor.
Be my slave.
The soldiers rush to cut her down, and Achilles arrives just in time to save her. And that is the moment Paris takes aim and puts an arrow straight through Achilles' heel. Achilles tries to stand. Paris keeps firing, arrow after arrow. Dying, Achilles tells Briseis that she gave him peace, something he never had in his entire life. And then the greatest warrior who ever lived is gone. Andromache, Paris, Helen, and the survivors make it out. By sunrise, they are far from the ruins of Troy, carrying the last of their city with them. And back on the ground he conquered, Odysseus and the Greek soldiers gather around the body of Achilles and give him one final salute. So the moral of the story is never start a world war because your brother can't handle his relationship drama. It's way cheaper to pay for couples therapy than 1,000 ships.